Our 911 is insured with State Farm, and our 2017 Acura NSX is insured by Hagerty. And our NSX has a stated value policy, and a stated value policy is a policy that guarantees you an X amount, an amount that you and the insurance company have agreed on that gets paid out in case of a total loss. Now, when it comes to 911, it doesn't have a stated value policy. They make those decisions based on the current market valuation of the car. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of State Farm and the pros and cons of Hagerty. First off, State Farm. Now, we love State Farm. We've been a customer of State Farm for a very long time. One of the things we really like about them is that they have a physical location, a place that you can go into, or you can call or email. You can ask questions, you can make changes about your policy, and we do that often because we buy a lot of cars. And we also like that they're a very established big company, which means that they have a lot of resources. And segueing into resources, we have actually had to file a few claims, and our experience with State Farm has been positive across the board, with the exception of a few minor logistical things, which we'll get into the cons. Now, they did pay out the claims whenever we went through a hailstorm. They've definitely taken care of us with some windshields, and overall, they've been pretty solid as far as claim-wise. Now, let's talk about the cons. First off, they're a corporation. So whenever you have to deal with a corporation, there's that long wait or the bureaucracy or the red tape. There was a certain moment where we needed to get something done with the hail claim that we had, and we had to talk to a different person every time, because when it comes to claims, that office that I was telling you about, like that personal small office that you could ask questions, they're usually not dealing with the claims. So now whenever you're dealing with the claims with State Farm, you actually have to deal with the company, the 1-800 numbers, and you're usually having to talk to somebody different every time, and that was a pain in the butt. Another thing I don't like about State Farm is that they offer and they really push this small GPS tracker, where they're kind of pitching it that you get a discount, if you drive well, and the better you drive and the better grade you get, the bigger of a discount. But in my opinion, I feel like, and this is my opinion, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I feel that they could literally use that information if you get in an accident, or if there's a situation or scenario, that they could use that data to work against you as the person, as far as the person who's filing the claim. And I don't want that. I don't want anyone having additional information. So I don't like those little GPS trackers. I think it's called Drive and Save or something like that. Drive Safe and Save. I'm not a fan of that. And they push it and they offer you a big discount or whatever. And I just think it's not a good idea. And I don't like to partake in it. But as far as State Farm goes, when it comes to them versus Hagerty, everybody's talking about stated value policy. And the reason why I'm not really concerned about the 911 as far as stated value policy is because there's so many of them that literally you go on the internet, look at the value, and you could see what the actual market is doing with the 911s, like how much they're being sold for. And if you ever had an issue where you need to get evaluation, it's there. So I think you really shouldn't have a problem with that. Now, Hagerty really pushes the stated value policy, and we have a stated value policy on the NSX, and we're excited about that. I know that the same could be said as far as the market valuation. You could go find, NSXs that have sold and all that, but it is good to be able to know that, a six-figure amount would be paid, an appropriate one that you feel safe and that you've agreed with the insurance company would be paid out in case of a total loss. Now, Hagerty has been a good insurance company overall. There's been a couple of speed bumps, which I'm going to go in the con section, but let's talk about the good side. I do like that they're very car community orientated. They're at all the big car events, and you see their booths, and they're always supporting car influencers, the big ones and stuff like that, which is nice. And of course, it's nice to have a stated value policy. And whenever I've talked to someone on the phone, they're pleasant. I've only had one bad experience, but overall they've been great. And the claim process was definitely faster than the State Farm, as far as getting an adjuster to come out here and starting the process and everything. And I did like that you talked to one person with Hagerty with your claim. You had one person, you started and did your claim with them. Now, it wasn't super smooth, but overall it was a positive experience. So now let's talk about the negatives. I believe that they have raised the prices. I'm not sure if it's because of the economy or because of inflation or because of the insurance market overall, but their prices have definitely gone way higher. I just called them and they want more than double to insure the 911 for a stated value policy, which honestly, based on what I just told you, really doesn't make sense. But I had a claim with State Farm and I had a claim with Hagerty for hail damage. And State Farm, both of the companies said that was a no-fault claim. But for some reason, I don't know why, but Hagerty definitely is trying to bump up their rates. I'm not sure if that's because of me or because of the market or the economy, like I said, but that kind of left a negative taste in my mouth, because at the end of the day, like, State Farm didn't do that. They're like, that's not your fault. You know, you're not in charge of hail. But is Hagerty trying to recoup their money by hiking up the insurance rate? And yeah, and on top of that, I really don't like that they force certain things, like their magazine. Like, you have to take their magazine, otherwise you can't get roadside. I feel like that is the most weirdest business transaction ever. Like, I don't want your magazine. But if I don't take their magazine, I can't get roadside. So it's kind of weird. It's like, I don't want your magazine, and they're like, well, we won't help you with towing. So I have to get their magazine, which is kind of lame. Now, both companies definitely are spending our premiums. And what I mean by premiums, when we pay them to market. Of course, State Farm has their famous commercials and stuff like that. And Hagerty really focuses on the car community, and they're paying, you know, car influencers a ton of money. At the end of the day, I have both insurance companies, and I'm happy. And honestly, when it's time to renew the NSX, if the NSX is definitely considerably more expensive to renew, I'm gonna go with State Farm, because again, at the end of the day, they both have pros and cons. At the end of the day, it's important for everyone to know this, because with insurance companies, the more information you have, the more we share with each other about the process, about the experiences, we're able to find the best place to get insured. And I feel like State Farm has been great, Hagerty's been great, but at the end of the day, you have to pick the best company that's gonna take care of you and also charge you fairly. All right, guys, you let me know which insurance company you like more, and let me know which one you're using, or if you have any tips for us, tell us in the comment section. All right, guys, thank you for watching. After communicating with Hagerty, I expressed that I wanted to maintain the same coverages as I had with State Farm, and they agreed that they could match those. The total amount for the Hagerty came out to $1,166. Hagerty Insurance offers a stated value policy. In my case, I went with $40,000.